You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now present the Health Hub, hosted by Cathy Biase.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Health Hub. I'm Cathy Biase, your host, and along with our producer, Alex Diaz, and our production assistant, Daniel Tersini, we would like to welcome you to our show this morning. Good morning, men.
Hi, good morning, Cathy. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you doing?
Fine. The day has started off great. It was warmer yesterday, and today it's actually gotten a lot colder.
It has, but it's okay. There's no snow.
That's true. There isn't.
And Danny, you've had trouble with your wrist. How are you doing with that?
Yeah, the tendonitis. It's been getting better. 2 to 3 weeks it should be on, and then afterwards I should be fine. Got to invest in ergonomic keyboards, it seems. But.
Yeah, and divest in computer games and video games and stuff, if you have to do that.
I think that's going to be difficult for Daniel.
Because my job literally has me on a computer 24/7. So.
Sure it does. So everyone's had a good week. That's great. It's nice to see spring is here. Our show today is live, and in fact, we have Jonathan Thomas in studio with us, which is a really nice treat. We were talking about our last in-studio guest, and I think it was over a year ago.
Definitely.
So it's nice to have somebody local in with us, and we really do appreciate Jonathan, you making the trip here for us. It's really nice for us. Our number is 416-245-1534. So if you'd like to speak with Jonathan or call in to talk with any one of us, please feel free to do so. Our social media sites on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, we are at the Health Hub RMC, and please do feel free to email us at thh@radiomaria.ca if you have any requests for shows, if you'd like us to go seek out professionals in the area that you have interest, or if you're interested in being a guest on the show yourself. And do please subscribe to our podcast. As you know, all of our live shows on the Health Hub are turned over, our live shows and our tape shows, in fact, are turned over into podcasts, and they are available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite podcast platforms. You can find all of our podcasts on the Radio Maria Canada website. We are www.radiomaria.ca, and my website is cathybiase.com. I can feel it coming on. I have been dealing with this sinus infection. It's got to be a month now, and it's ebbed and flowed, and I can feel coughing coming on. So beyond, if I wave at you, just know that a cough is coming your way. It's I could just, as I start talking, it's unbelievable. Anyways, last week's show is Purpose the Key to Health with Jaya Myra is up and ready for you to listen to. That was a really interesting conversation. I really did enjoy that. I really found myself, especially when we got on to the spirituality aspect in the second half of that show. Mm-hmm. I was enthralled with it. I could have gone on for a lot longer, but I got the Alex wave and knew that it was time to head off. But really,
wave to the glass. That's the one wave you don't like.
I know, and it seems to. It's funny, when we did our 100th show, my sister was saying to me, I remember that you were saying, what am I going to do with an hour's worth of time? And now, honestly, sometimes I'm like, I can't get all these questions in. There's just so much more I want. But in that case, it's opportunity for our guests to come back on. But yeah, last week's show, I really enjoyed that whole spiritual component. It's such a missing aspect in healthcare, I find. So very interesting. Please do have a listen to it. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. So this past weekend, we were at up in Collingwood. We have a place up in Collingwood, and we're fortunate enough to plant some apple trees a couple of years ago. And I was walking around. It's really quite mucky up there still, but I saw the trees starting to come to life, the little red at the end of the dried branches. And it's I love that feeling. Our little tulips and our little spring flowers are poking up through there's still some snow up there. And I don't know what it is, but every year when I see that newness. I really appreciate the seasons.
Yeah, it reminds you of spring in that case. Yeah, for sure.
It does, and it's kind of nice. We don't have sunshine. We don't have sunshine, but we don't have warmth all year round. And I feel that we endure the winter to see this new growth, and I get very excited about it. But so things are coming along well.
They say it's a new beginning.
It's a new beginning. Every year we have a new beginning, and it's prophetical. But anyways, getting a little bit off topic there, I wanted to talk to you. It brought to mind, I thought, I don't think we've really talked about apples and their health benefit on the show. I know it sounds a little bit boring, but apples are probably one of the world's most preferred fruits. There are about 7,500 different varieties of them, and they're portable. They're easy to pack in kids' lunches. They're a great snack, and who knows, maybe the popularity all started with Eve taking that bite out of the apple. But they are a wonderful, wonderful food to include in your healthy diet. But I wanted to bring to your attention the importance of the skin of the apple. So an apple contains, just to give you a little sort of a nutritional capsule here, an apple contains about 115 calories, negligible fat in an apple, about 5 grams of fiber. And that's the whole apple. When you pick the apple, that's what you get. So that's on average for your average size of an apple. But when you peel the skin off, and I know a lot of people do, and especially kids, they don't like the skin sometimes. It's a little tough for them to get through. But when you peel that apple off, you're losing almost half of the fiber of the apple. The skin of the apple contains both soluble and insoluble fiber, and you've heard it many times on the show. We need that fiber for our microbiome. We need the fiber to keep us regular. And you're losing a really important nutrient component of the apple with the phytonutrients, the vitamin A and the vitamin C. You'll still get some vitamin A and C in the apple, but when you cut the skin off, you're really losing quite a bit of it. And according to a study out of Cornell University, eating the apple skin may reduce risk of certain types of cancer, including liver, breast, and colon cancer. The peel contains compounds, and they're called triterpenoids, and they have the power, so the study says, to destroy cancer cells as well as prevent new growth. And as well, an article from the Journal of Food Science, the antioxidants in apple peels can help protect your heart health by preventing the oxidation of polyunsaturated fats. And the oxidation of fats increases your risk of disease. Don't peel the skin. With all the varieties of apples out there, you have a variety of tastes. So just remember that skin not only protects the insides of the apple, but it also offers you a wealth of healthy nutrients. And that's my apple talk for you today. So apples, I was just thinking, it just popped in my mind, have been vilified quite a bit, but they sure shouldn't be. On to our guest today. Our in-studio guest is Jonathan Thomas, and Jonathan is a life and relationship coach in Toronto and throughout the GTA, working with clients on a wide range of topics such as anxiety, depression, job performance and fulfillment, love, relationships, and overall happiness and sports performance. Jonathan's coaching methods and techniques can help any person looking to make a positive change in their life. For over 10 years, Jonathan helped clients reach their fitness goals as an in-home personal trainer. This decade of training experience consisted predominantly of being welcomed into people's homes and seeing what life was like for clients as their most open, true, and unguarded state was presented to them in their own homes. Jonathan became aware of complexity of the human mind and all of the barriers and catalysts of change. By witnessing and helping hundreds of clients, many of them husbands and wives, attempt to make changes in their lives, in-home personal training awakened his passion and skill for life and relationship coaching. It was not in his or his clients' successes, but in their failures and struggles, where he became a firm believer that there were always a way to break through no matter what the person or the situation. Being armed with the desire to learn and discover more about human behavior and why people do the things they do, Jonathan has built and continues to build a variety of ways to help enrich, enhance, and add value to his clients' lives. It's going to be a very interesting topic. Relationships isn't something that we've broached a whole lot here on the Health Hub. So Jonathan's going to give us a whole new avenue of health. We're going to talk about common issues that couples deal with. Is marriage a realistic proposition in 2019? And how couples can cultivate healthy relationships. And we will be back to you after this break.
You are listening to Radio Maria Canada. We now continue with the program, The Health Hub, hosted by Cathy Biase.
Welcome back, everybody. Our show is live today. Feel free to call us at 416-245-1534. Also follow us on our social sites. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we are at the Health Hub RMC. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us in studio.
Of course. Yeah. No, thanks for inviting me. And I've been looking forward to it for a couple of months now.
Well, we're just talking, as I said, I don't think we've had an in-studio guest. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have the interaction, and except with the big microphones in front of us,
right.
It's nice to be able to talk to someone face to face. So Thank you. I appreciate the trip in.
Of course. Well, yeah, I mean, face to face, you can pick up a lot of different communication cues, right? So
exactly.
It's definitely different than on the phone. And I'm only like 15 minutes away from here, so
perfect.
Might as well come in.
Oh, good. We'll have you back regularly.
Yeah,
enlighten us
awesome.
on many subjects.
Well, let's see how I do, and then we
I'm
can
sure
decide
you'll be just fine. You've had experience before doing this, right? You've been on other shows, so
I have.
And you have your own podcast, right?
I do, yeah. Me and a fellow coach who also is like a former trainer. We have one, so it's kind of about transitioning from training to coaching, and they usually last like an hour or so.
Well, let's give it a plug. What's it called? It
is called The Coach's Way, with S and J. He being the S, Shahab, and me being the J, John. So, yeah.
And it's about what? The training part of what you do?
It's more about coaching, and the topic we kind of come up with the topic like the day of on the fly, just kind of what's going on in our own lives. Some of it has been from relationship struggles. Some of it has been from like New Year's resolutions. Mm. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but it has to do more with like behavior and the mental aspect of coaching and living.
Okay. Now you are considered a health coach?
I guess I kind of changed like my phrasing of it, like every month almost. I usually introduce myself as like a life and relationship coach.
Okay.
Because that kind of tackles a lot of the topics. Because life could mean anything, and relationship can mean either romantic relationship or just friends or social circles. So I usually say life and relationship coach. I obviously do have a big background in health and training. So I can offer help with that too, when it's like fitness and nutrition and pain relief, because a lot of people are just dealing with chronic pain.
Yes,
like tendinitis.
There you go. Hey, right. That wasn't planned, Daniel. So your focus is now within the life and relationship realm, and how I think one of the things that we should tackle before how you got all involved and made that transition. What would be the difference, you would say, if someone said, well, what do you do versus, the standard we're going to counseling, couples counseling? What's the difference?
Difference between coaching and counseling, that's a super common question. And I've had a lot of practice answering it. So hopefully I'll be good with it. I will usually tell people coaching is more based in the present and focused on like, what can we do now and where can we go from here, and this isn't the case for everyone, because it's up to the coach, it's up to the therapist, it's up to the counselor. But I'll usually say coaching is more based in the present and in the future, where therapy and counseling will go into the past a little bit.
Yeah.
But that varies for everyone, right? So coaching is more kind of focused on results. There's no real scope of practice for coaching. There's nothing saying, what you can do or what you can't say. So coaching, there's a bit more leeway of what you can do and what you can say to get the desired result. Where like counseling and therapy and psychiatrists, there is a scope of practice, of course. So that's probably the two big differences.
So when you're working with people, are you pulling in all sorts of different types of techniques, or do you have a specific route that you go down that you're constantly, washing and reusing?
It's probably a little bit of both. There's every person is going to be different, so you can't just go down the same route and the same technique for everyone. But I do have a couple go-to methods that I'll try to incorporate. But yeah, it could be a 25-year-old male who's looking for help with finding his purpose in his career, and it could be a 40-year-old female who is having relationship problems. So you're not going to use the same techniques for both of them, but there is some universal strategies that do apply. But yeah, you kind of have to make game time decisions of okay, what do I do here, and what do I say? What questions do I ask? Because that's what I base a lot of my coaching around. Is it's not me coming up with all the answers and giving the perfect advice, because I might see someone for 2 hours, 90 minutes, 2 hours of that. And then they're by themselves for the rest of their life. Hopefully, if it goes well, right? I'm not looking for like long-term, like year, 6-month clients. It's more like 2, 3, 4 sessions, and hopefully they can figure out the answers on their own and come up with the solutions on their own and be able to continue on by themselves.
That's a quick turnaround. 3 or 4 sessions. I want to get into actually what a session looks like, but I want to lead up to that. So I want to start at the beginning. So you were a personal trainer.
Yeah.
How did you bridge the gap between personal training and now working in a relationship coaching sphere?
Right. Well, I went to Humber College when I was 19, 20 for fitness and health promotion, because that was something I knew I was interested in, like fitness and health. And I didn't really want to go to school for something I wasn't that interested in. So I kind of decided on that route and did that. And I also knew I didn't really want to work in a gym, just because it was all kind of sales based and kind of just like client in, client out. You don't really build relationships. It's all kind of focused on numbers. So I was looking for companies that did in-home training, and I found one, and I was lucky enough to work with people for over 10 years. Yeah, like going into their homes, many of them husbands and wives. So like traveling, being welcomed into their home, training them for an hour, and seeing them like 3 times a week. So when you're in someone's house, like with a husband and wife for like 3 hours a week, you learn a lot. You learn way more than you would just in like a gym.
Way more than you might want to.
Yes, yes. Also, yeah, like you see their kids, you pet their dogs, you build relationships, as opposed to just being in a gym where you have like 1 hour and then it's like you still build relationships in gyms, but you don't get to see the full picture.
Yeah.
So when you're in their home, that was probably a huge learning process for me. Like those 10 years of work, like a lot of them, like 50% of my clients are probably husbands and wives.
Really?
So yeah, just because the kind of person who would want someone to come train them in their house, usually they'll have like kids and they have like busy jobs. So it's like, okay, I can't leave my kid in the morning, so I need my trainer to come to me. And since I'm already working out, I might as well get my wife to work out with me, or my husband to work out with me.
So was it dysfunctional relationships that made you go, aha, I think I might be good at this?
It was probably the dysfunctional, but also the functional. Like you get to see what the differences of a good relationship are and a bad relationship.
So you backdoored this whole process?
Pretty much, yeah. I snuck in.
So obviously you didn't just go from teaching people the right form to do a press,
right,
to sitting down with them and saying, this is what I suggest your relationship
of course
path be.
Yeah, that would be a bit crazy.
That would be a little bit, yeah.
A little bit intrusive.
It might be a little bit hard to build a clientele with that sort of, with that CV. So what did you do then to hone your skills and to give yourself the credibility to go out there?
Right. So yeah, like just training those people and training the husbands, wives, and seeing time after time people get in their own way, or people fall off and never text me again, or just completely like ghost me, like never acknowledge that we actually trained and stuff. So yeah, like a lot of failure, and me figuring out, okay, what else can I do to impact these people as opposed to just through fitness. So then I was okay, what can I do? And I started looking up different life coaching and relationship coaching, and watching YouTube videos, and tons of Tony Robbins stuff, which I'm sure almost every coach kind of gets their start from watching some of his stuff. And yeah, going to the Transformational Arts College in Toronto and doing a life coaching certification there, and then doing some NLP certifications, which is it's neuro-linguistic programming, which is a fancy term for basically figuring out people's language and thought patterns, and how they kind of go about living their lives and what patterns they're in. So those were my two big ones. And then, yeah, like that 10 years of firsthand experience of seeing, in people's homes and working with husbands and wives, and yeah, just kind of trial by fire. I mean, you can learn a lot like that, whether you want to or not. In the
Tony Robbins program, is there a systematic step-by-step process that he encourages you to take?
When it comes to becoming a coach?
Yes.
He kind of gives you all the tools. He gives you the tools, and there is like a layout. There's definitely a layout. I wouldn't say it's like step by step, but he gives you all the tools to decide where you want to go from there. Mm-hmm. And for me, I just relationship. I feel like that's where people's the biggest factor of their quality of life is in their relationship.
So when you're well, let's go to the clientele. So are you dealing with couples together mainly, or are you working with individuals? Is it a combination? Can you do a relationship coaching with someone who's on their own?
It's a bit of both. I've had, actually, it's probably more so individuals.
Really?
I will work with couples and have, but a lot of times it's like one person comes in, either the male or the female will come in and say like they're not happy in the relationship. They don't know what's going on, and so on. It does work better with two people. You got to have two people at some point, mm-hmm. or else you're just getting one side of the story. But it also is good to just do one-on-one to start, just because sometimes it's hard to sell your husband or to sell your wife on the idea of counseling.
So do you often, or have you ever had someone come in that is outside? So you have a relationship and one of the partners is coming in because they're looking for some help. But do you deal with people as well who are trying to get into a relationship, or they're not in a relationship but have had past difficulties? Is that an area of your expertise as well?
Yeah, as far as looking for love and mm-hmm. see, like how to attract a mate and how to get into a relationship. That's a huge area too, right? And I've worked with those people too. And it kind of all goes down that same path of, okay, well, if you're looking for someone, if you're looking for a relationship, a spouse, a wife, a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, what do you like? Who do you have to become to attract that? Because a lot of times people will just focus on what they want, and as opposed to actually working on themselves. And if you want someone great, you're probably going to have to be great also, right? Like if this like great, attractive go-getter, like someone who's killing it at all stages of their life, will they want to be with someone who isn't doing the same? So that kind of comes down to, okay, well, let's work on what you can do. What can you focus on for yourself? And that kind of helps that situation.
Is it a bigger area more as you are involved as the years go by? Because, I'm just trying to connect the dots between singles, all the apps out there for trying to date. And it seems, again, it's the chicken and the egg. Because we have the apps and more social media and more ways of connecting, are we seeing actually a harder a harder time for people to find relationships, or was it the same? We just see more of it. Before we just didn't have the social media to bring it to the forefront.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more people that are individual having a hard time finding a relationship?
I think people are having an easier time finding like the start of a relationship, but finding it harder to build on that because there's so many options out there, right? Yeah. There's so much instant gratification, and if my relationship has any speed bumps or hiccups, I can move on because it's so readily available.
Oh, it's that would be a huge challenge, I think, for you.
Yeah,
you're not just dealing with a couple here. You're dealing with these people that you're right, and I think that's part of our society now. The instant gratification, and the stick-to-itness maybe is something that you're working on a lot with couples. We're going to come back in a minute. A couple of minutes actually after our break, and I really want to get down and dirty on what you feel the big issues are out there for couples. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
You are listening to The Health Hub here on Radio Maria Canada, a Catholic voice wherever you are. To contact us and be a part of the show, please call 416-245-1534. We now continue with the program. Here once again is your host, Cathy Biase.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with our live in-studio guest, Jonathan Thomas, and we're talking about building healthy relationships. So we spent the first half of the show going through sort of the step-by-step processes of seeing Jonathan and how he got to this process. Let's spend the next half, Jonathan, talking about building healthy relationships. And I think just from your bio, you said that you learned a lot more from dysfunctional relationships than not maybe learn more, but that kind of cued you into this whole line of work. What are the common issues that you find are really at heart with relationships that are not trending in the right direction?
Common issues. Well, the most common one, whether you're in a relationship or not, is finances. You can be single, or you could be in a relationship, and so many people that live their lives with, the idea of finances and money always in the back of their mind. Myself included, I've been down that road too, and we'll probably go down that road again in the near future. But I think with relationships and finances, why it's such an issue and such a common issue is because of the emotion tied into it. Finances for people, it means certainty, it memes security, it means freedom, it means like safety. If you just think at like a survival, like way down at like the base of survival, finances, you need them, right? So the emotion tied into that, and like all your certainty and all your security is tied into that. So there's going to be a lot of anger and frustration when those aren't going well, when there's any kind of financial hiccup. And a lot of times husbands, wives, they'll kind of unleash that emotion onto each other. So I think when it comes to finances, it's a good thing to acknowledge that there's emotion tied into it, but to somehow detach that emotion from it a little bit too, so that we're not just, so that we can kind of see it from a different perspective. So we're not seeing it from a survival point of view, we're seeing it from what it really is. And
a hiccup.
Yeah, a hiccup.
Well, if you have an open communication with your partner, won't that sort of meld the way to these hiccups? We had hiccups when we were financial hiccups earlier on when we got, and I think it's common. It's very common. Nowadays, it's so difficult for couples to have a place to live that they can afford. But going into it, understanding your finances and making budgets. My son just got married, and they have everything budgeted.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I didn't do that. And I don't know why. We just sort of winged it. And again, I'm dealing with the paradox of two completely different ways to run things. When we got married, our biggest, I think, in our relationship was open communication. Now there's I look at it and I think there's so much communication. People talk to each other 3, 4, 5 times a day. Is that good? Is that bad? But when you sit down and you discuss finances, what do you want to talk? If you're dealing with a couple that is having a financial difficulty, is that just financial difficulty, or is that a relationship thing? How do you broach that in a relationship discussion?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, that open communication is important, because a lot of times people will kind of keep their problems like to themselves. Whether you're in a relationship or not, you might not want to talk about your finances because you feel like self-conscious about it, right? And that applies to people who are doing great financially. Like, it's still a sore subject for people, even if you're doing great, you know, which is funny because, you know, everyone kind of holds on to their problem and doesn't want to share it with others. So I think, yeah, when it comes to that, you're going to want to be open with your spouse, and, you know, open up the computer and go through the finances together, not hiding anything. And yeah, like building goals together and seeing where you're at, like, realistically with your money.
Do you find that people are, I guess, earlier on, maybe even later on in relationships, have a difficulty with this sharing, with building a life together, as opposed to walking in as two separate individuals and trying to make it work on individual paths? Right.
Yeah, that vulnerability, that kind of opening up and being vulnerable and like truly going for it. And, you know, that's huge, right? That's for everyone. That's family, that's relationship, that's for yourself, whether you're going to go for it in your career or for your job, or if you're going to self-sabotage and, you know, be guarded, you know, because people want more love in their life. They want to feel more love. They want to have more love around them, but they also are afraid to be hurt and to make themselves vulnerable. So how can you do both of those things? There is a way you can do both of those things. And you just kind of have to come to that realization that pain will be coming, no matter if you love your spouse fully or not. Like, that relationship will end one way or the other, whether that's through death, through your death, through their death. Pain will be coming one way or the other. So you either get to go for it, like, right now, or you can just choose to hold back and, you know, be guarded and not love fully. And you know, because you're afraid of being hurt in the end, right?
Do you find that relationships evolve? Like, I think maybe, do people need to learn how to love? Is that an ongoing process?
I think everyone's definition is different, right? We get that generally from how we've watched our parents.
Okay.
I mean, I think for most people, and that's kind of your first definition of love. You know, if you're spending, you know, the first 17 or 18 years of your life with your parents and watching how that, okay, so that's what a relationship looks like. So that's like your first definition, right? And then you kind of start going through the dating world and creating your own little definition and making your own mold. But yeah, like that cheesy song, "What Is Love" from Night at the Roxbury, right? But yeah, like you gotta find out what your definition of that is, because when I say love and when you say it, we could be talking about totally different things, right?
Is love, do you think, defined by the goals that you're setting?
Defined by the goals that you're setting? What, as like a couple?
Well, like love, yeah. So love for you, you say your love meaning will be different than my love, and every relationship, their love has a different meaning. And does that come from the fact that people have different ideas of where they want their relationships to go, or is just a manifested love is different just because two people in a relationship are different than two other people?
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. For me, it's the, you know, risking it all, you know, like being vulnerable and showing my true self and loving fully. Like I told you off air, we're getting married in like 5 months and stuff. So, yeah, like being open to being hurt, you know, knowing that it's gonna come one way or the other. But which way will you not regret, you know?
Yeah. Vulnerability is a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, big time.
Because you are, like, to me personally, on my route in my relationship, I still feel like that there are walls that are still being broken down. And I guess it depends on your history. Now, you said something very interesting about, your family relationship, the parent relationship, and really sort of that's what your children see first. So that's an easy piece if you've come from a happy home. Now, have you dealt with people that have come from an unhappy home and are trying to figure out how to love healthy?
Yeah.
Have you dealt with people like that?
Well, I mean, like I think it's 40% of marriages end in divorce, especially the baby boomers. I think that was the highest rate. Now it's starting to go down, but
the divorce rate is going down?
That's what I hear.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think just because all the baby boomers are kind of done, they're done divorcing now. Mm-hmm. You know, no one's hopefully going to be divorcing when they're like 70 years old.
Well, okay. The next question, then the flip side of that is, are people getting married?
Right.
Is the marriage rate going down?
I think the marriage rate is staying the same. I have to double check, but now it's like the next generation, right? So now, whether it's Generation X,
I don't know what it is. I think Generation X was 80s to 90s. Is that right? Or is that 90s to?
I think like I'm 32. I think I'm kind of right on the barrier.
You're the
like
cusp?
I'm on like the fence between Generation X and Millennial, right?
Okay.
So now as like the kind of generations change, your question is marriage a realistic thing? Is it still ideal in this period of time? And for myself, getting married in 5 months, I sure hope so. I sure hope it is realistic, right? Or else why am I doing it? But if you're thinking about like starting a family, marriage is great because it does provide some stability and some financial stability where, it gives, even though you can easily get divorced too, it does give you that sense of certainty, that sense of security to be married, right? It gives you an extra step to have to go through if you're going to leave each other, right? When having kids, that is important that you're at least trying to make it work. So marriage is good that way. And yeah, financially it doesn't really change much because if you're common law, if you live together, for more than like 1 year, you get the same benefits and finances and all that.
Then that brings a question to my mind. What if financially you're the same, common law or married, why not take that step and solidify that relationship? Why, in your mind, are people not taking that next step?
To be married?
Yes.
Well, it's scary. It is. It does provide that kind of extra sense of like finality to it, right? And if you're scared of vulnerability and, totally going for it, marriage kind of represents that big time, right? So I think maybe some people are a little bit standoffish because it is like such a final thing, even though it's really not that final because, half of all marriages end.
It's a mental thing, I think.
Yes, of course. Nothing changes. Like I've lived with my girlfriend for over 5 years, and when we get married, nothing's going to change.
But something must be going to change, or you wouldn't be taking that step.
I think, I'm doing it for the right reasons. I think like I wasn't pressured into it, even though people would like take little like funny jabs at me, like, "Oh, 8 years, like what's taking you so long?" But for me, my motivation behind it, I don't know. I kind of have to probably ask myself that question before the big day. But it was. Yeah, I love her. She's great, and I know I want to be with her for the rest of my life. So
there's your final vulnerability after the 5 years.
So why not go for it then, right? If you really love them and you know that you want to be with them for the rest of your life, then what are you waiting for? What's stopping you?
So somebody comes in to see you. They've got relationship issues. You sit them down. How do you start leading them in the direction of cultivating healthy relationships? What is your session like?
Well, a lot of times people will come in with their problem that they've been like thinking about nonstop, like in their head. Like if they have this problem, what's a relationship or career or finance, and they're just kind of going through this problem over and over and over and talking to people about it. And a lot of times people will come in and they'll just want to dive right into it. And that's where I need to be like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go right to it. We're going to change how you've been going about this. So there's a few different exercises and, there's different questions you can ask to get them to take their mind off of it. Because if you're just seeing the problem from like one point of view, one perspective, you don't really generate a lot of different answers and different methods. So yeah, the first step is to change their perspective and not dive right into it. So yeah, once you can get them to be separated from the problem for a little bit and get them into a good state, then you can jump back in. And if it's a relationship issue, you're going to want to talk about what do you want? What does a great relationship look like to you, and get them to kind of write things down and what do you really want? Not just verbalize it, but actually put it on paper. Like, okay, what do you think is missing? What do you want? And all that stuff. One of the big coaching methods I use is called the 6 Human Needs. And yeah, that's from Tony Robbins. And I'm sure he kind of took it from other people and made it his own and added pieces to it, which works so well for me. Like just through issues in my own life and through coaching, going through these 6 human needs. And it's basically a behavior model that explains that everyone is doing things to meet these certain needs, to meet these needs of certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. So getting whoever's seeing me, whether that's both parts of the couple or just one, getting them to kind of take an audit of, okay, how are we doing with meeting each other's needs here? How certain do you feel in this relationship that they love you and they're not going to leave you? How much variety are you providing each other? Is it all just based on comfort and certainty where you come home and you watch Netflix and you get no variety? How connected do you feel? How much love and connection do you feel with each other? And kind of going through that audit and seeing what the numbers are and what you need to improve on. That's a really helpful step for me, because it just maps out like, okay, where are we, where we're at with these numbers and with this like the 6 human needs audit. And the goal is to get it 10 out of 10 for each of these. I know we don't have a ton of time to go through it, but if you just Google 6 human needs or YouTube it, there's tons of videos and tons of stuff on it.
Do you come to a point when you're speaking with somebody after a few sessions where in your own mind you're saying, this just isn't healthy? This relationship may not work. And
right.
if you do you verbalize that? Or is that something that everyone has to come to their own conclusion with?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's not every relationship is meant to stay together, meant to be together, right? But that's something that people kind of have to come up with on their own. I can kind of lead them to that direction, but that's if you're going to make a decision to break up and leave or stay together, I don't want that on me. That should be on the person, right? Because they'll take ownership, they'll take accountability. But whether you're going to stay together or not, there is things in the meantime that you can do to make yourself to have no regrets about either staying in the relationship or leaving. You can make yourself the best possible person, and you can give everything to your partner and do your best. And if it still ends, you won't have any regrets from that.
It's an interesting. It's hard to visualize where you can't have both parties don't have to be involved with this. You're taking the 6 steps. You're really trying as an individual to go through and giving. Do you find that your clients, when they come to see you, are willing to do the work?
It depends. It varies.
That's a tough call. Yeah. That self-reflection.
Yeah, like a lot of times it is people that have this problem that they've been living with, and like that's their identity now, right? And do they really want to change their identity? A lot of people, like, they don't. It's scary because this is how they know themselves. This is how they interact with the world. So yeah, a lot of times people will come in and maybe they just want some assurance that they do have this problem and that it is okay and this is how they're going to live their life. So yeah, the best clients are the ones who actually want to change. But sometimes you don't get those. Sometimes you just have people that want that kind of feedback that, oh, it's not your fault. It's
the situation.
It's the situation. It's how you're raised. It's your parents. It's that. And those are the trickier clients, but that's also fun to try to look for a way to help them.
Well, I think what you do, especially in this time of life with things the way they are, and it harder now, I think, than before to try and find that match is very important. And I think the starting point with you is reflection, and I think that's very important. We are pressing against the clock, of course, as I said, we probably would be. Let's give everybody your social media sites. Let them know how they can get a hold of you. Okay,
awesome. My website is torontoperformancecoaching.com. My Instagram is Toronto Performance Coach. And I know, performance, I was kind of struggling with names, and I was going to do like life and relationship. And I was like, oh, well, performance sounds maybe like the clientele I want, people that actually want to change.
Want to perform.
Yeah. And my Twitter is GTA Life Coaching, at GTA Life Coaching.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you so much for coming in studio. I appreciate it. It's so nice to have a friendly face to talk to.
Yeah.
Next week, everybody, we are having Dr. Antonio Stecco on the show. We're talking about demystifying fascia. Fascinating stuff. If you have the time, Google him, watch him on YouTube, and be prepared for the show because it's going to be quite interesting. And everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you next week on The Health Hub.
You have been listening to The Health Hub, hosted by Cathy Biase, here on Radio Maria Canada.